I often talk about and research things that frustrate me. And this topic frustrated me a number of years ago, but then I got curious as to why it frustrated me. So kind of like a furious? I was furious about this topic. So as much as I can deep dive in 25 minutes, I'm going to talk about threat actors. And they're not really threat actors. They're really just tracking these advanced actors that target or really aren't advanced, but they like to knock over water towers and stuff online. And they're really just skitties. And I don't know who remembers what a skitty is, but a script kiddie who basically defaces PLCs, and they're not nice about it. And they also don't know the difference between Arkansas City and Arkansas State. And we'll explain that a little bit, but if you're familiar at all with kind of the threat actor model or the script kiddie model, it's one of ego, and it's one of reputation, and it's one of boasting, right? And so here I am on stage boasting to you about my research, but that's kind of maybe more educational awareness. They boast and they like to overblow stories about things that they do. So I want to start by telling you, don't believe anything I'm about to tell you in this next 20 minutes. Now that's kind of weird. Now there's a purpose for that though. The thing that made me furious or frustrated, curious about this is that you often hear the exploits or the ideas or the things that these threat actors are doing. And you hear it on the news, you see it on LinkedIn, you may even see me post it or maybe one of your peers post it. And you're getting their bias or their, now biases aren't always negative, but you're getting their viewpoint on what they've read or what they saw, and then you trust that, right? And oftentimes in these threat actor stories, they say things like it was an advanced threat actor, an APT, that they're targeting the US water system, right? That there's an existential threat against our nation's critical infrastructure. Now, here's what not necessarily frustrated me, but who was making that determination, right, on my behalf? Now, I'm a semi-smart person, and I can look at an HMI and be like, oh, like, that's interesting, and does the actor know what they're doing? Is it advanced? Did they actually target or mean to access that system? Was there any operational impact? How many asset owners I want to talk about water utilities a lot today. Any water utility people in here? Yes, thank you. Now, I love water utilities because I think they are kind of the catalyst or the litmus test for sniffing out BS in the media and the hype. And I'm surprised that Dale didn't have us make a pilgrimage to Oldsmar while down here. We could have all gotten in a van and gone and seen the existential threat to Tampa and the Super Bowl, and they were poisoning the well and all that stuff. That, of course, may or may not have been true. But this is the thing I want to empower you with. Not everyone knows where to get this information on their own. And not everyone knows really to question and to be curious about this. Was it targeted? Was it advanced? Was it actually critical infrastructure, like national level critical infrastructure? And do you think there was an actual operational impact? Now, maybe I shouldn't say that. I take interest in these groups because they have great, PR departments. They have folks that create logos. They have a Canva Pro account. Like they put some time into this. And if you ever watch their videos, and I'll give you the resources to be able to watch these, they have like intros and music and taglines. I love the Russian cyber army. We work remotely. Like that's cool, right? But these groups come and go. They're often associated with geopolitical conflict or like think of when you were in high school, you had a group of friends and you'd go break into an abandoned school and tag up the place but you never had CNN the next night go, local threat actors are targeting our nation's education system and our children, right? And I kind of feel like that's what's going on. But as geopolitical climate changes, as wars come and go, as the anonymous group likes to do, hashtag op whatever, these groups come and go. So these are the 4 groups I'm going to tell you about today, go through the use cases, and hopefully give you some knowledge as to how you can go and investigate for yourself, so in that way you can decipher what's true from now. Now, the first one is Cyber Avengers. They're great because they got hacked. They got hacked by an Israeli group called either the Redevils or the Red Evils. But they were a group that I'll go through with the use case that caused a whole bunch of trouble because they did what is a classic defacement. They didn't just hack something, record it, and then make some claim about how they're attacking our critical infrastructure. They changed the background on the PLC. It's a PLC-HMI combination. And as you're gonna see, that was scary. Had their logo, it said, hacked in the name of, we attack all Israeli stuff. And that was scary, but the Israelis hacked them, so that was kind of funny. Z-Pentest is probably the most prolific currently and the most boisterous, and we'll talk about them, but they're still active. UserSec is another one, and our scary Russian cyber army, sometimes gone by CARR or RCAT, is not saying that they're deactivated, but their Telegram, which I'll get to in a second, has gone dormant. So their official Telegram channel, their ability to communicate their activities has gone dormant, at least publicly. And the user who was running it now just kind of puts up, geopolitical nonsense and memes and a lot of bear pictures. I don't know, they're really into bears. So they're kind of out of the game, but who knows? They may be back when summer break happens. That's kind of the mentality I have with these folks. Now I mentioned Telegram. Not everyone is usually familiar with Telegram. It's a communication app, may or may not be encrypted. With security people, you kind of get spooky, right? But it is a communication app like WhatsApp, like Signal, like any of the social media tools you have out there where you can create a group, you can chat with your friends, and you can create a public group where you can then boast to the world, hey, I hacked some water system, right? Now, there's a few notes about using Telegram. One is, be careful. And maybe this is the hesitation as to why folks don't go and seek out, either in Telegram or on the dark web, this information is because there's a unfounded paranoia as to, well, someone's gonna hack my phone. There are some common sense, what they call OPSEC or operational security. Telegram requires often, like most social media apps now, to either have an email or a phone number. So if you use your phone number, set the privacy settings so it's not visible to anyone. But if you don't want to go through and all this, I'm going to show you, and there are web pages where you can go and see this anyway. But this is what I do. Every morning I have my coffee, and like the police blotters of old, I read through all of the nonsense they post. So let's start with Cyber Avengers. I love these guys because you can tell they're elite. They changed one of the E's to a 3. So I don't know if you're familiar with that. That's automatically eliteness. But this is what happened last year. And if you were any kind of operator, whether large, small, water utility, brewery, which some of you may consider critical infrastructure, if you walked in and saw this and you didn't know any better, you'd be like, oh, Lord, right? You have been hacked. Down with Israel. Every equipment made in Israel is Cyber Avengers legal target. And everything went red. All right. That's scary. And if some of you were around 80s, 90s, website defacements were popular, and you would have shouts to your friends, and you'd say down with whoever, and you'd put up your cool logo, and it kind of became just passé, right? Now, I will say a note for those of you who remember web defacements way back in the day. Early on, you would get the media who would say, oh, NSA was hacked last night by Chinese actors. And no, they defaced NSA.gov. NSA proper wasn't hacked. So there was that mindset of this organization, their public out-facing persona was hacked, therefore their inner workings or their operations must have been hacked. And we kind of rose up to that idea. We said, no, those two things are different. And I think we're still learning that in industrial security. So here was the actual impact. And now this is from Robert Bible. He's I want to see the city manager for this very small town in West Pennsylvania that I cannot pronounce, starts with an A. But when CISA, FBI, and the local news media showed up at his door, he said, yep, that was a pain. I had to send someone out to the remote water tower and turn this thing off. And we have to replace it. That sucks. Really, Robert? That's all you got? Yeah. I mean, it was a big inconvenience. And now if you think about this, if you had to run a water utility in your local small town neighborhood, and you had a water tower, you had pumps, you had holding tanks, you would want something where you could remote in and see, oh, is everything going fine, et cetera. Once this happened, they just replaced it. Now, in turn, CISA, FBI, joint things, and I don't really fault the government for this, but they had to respond. And in responding, they gave, maybe unintentionally, more credibility to this attack than maybe was necessary. But they had to. Now, where I take some of the exception, let me go back here, is some of the language. Again, they're targeting US water and wastewater facilities. No, they targeted any Unitronics system they could find online. There were dialysis machines in Brazil that I found. And I'm like, ooh, that's spicy. When's somebody going to talk about that? Nobody talked about that, right? It was water utilities in the US. This is scary. So again, going through just an easy use case, and I'll go through on quick on this because you can't have a slide deck without Shodan screenshots or command line. So I chose Shodan this time. If you just go and search for the word Unitronics on Shodan, there's still a couple dozen. The nice thing about these PLC HMI combinations is they have a name that's Zoombrummerikkebathrin. And if you Google that, it's a water park in the Netherlands, I believe. Like crazy. Now, if you think these are advanced attacks, just know that there's an app for that. And I'm not saying that, I'm not saying that I went and downloaded this app and tested it myself, but I mean, very easily, it's on the App Store, it's on the Android Play. You download the app, you put in the IP address, and you have remote access, depending if they had a PIN, which may have been 5 ones, to anything that's addressable by this Unitronics system. So they're not developing exploits, they're not doing cool hacker stuff, it's literally an app on their phone. So, was it targeted? Was it advanced? Was it critical infrastructure? Now, water in my local town is critical to me, and I certainly wouldn't want to not have it for a few days. But is it CISA level? Is it FBI level? Is it CNN level? National security, critical infrastructure impact? Probably not. But that's hard to swallow for a lot of us because we're so operationally focused, we're so safety focused that, yes, for a small town in Pennsylvania, you lose maybe some water pressure for a day. It generated all this buzz. And was there operational impact? Probably not. All right, so I love these guys. These guys kind of started it all. These were 2 cities in Texas. Muleshoe, which I just love, it tickles me, and Abernathy. Now, this started the trend that went from defacing, which kind of was brought back, an old thing, to recording, adding video to it, and doing like a music video of your hack. So they released a number of videos on Telegram that said, haha, look at us, we took down the Texas water system. They left their name. And if you watch the video, which I don't have time to play, but I'd be happy to show you, it's basically 7 minutes of them like just monkeys pressing buttons, right? They see a pump on-off button, they hit it on-off like 5 or 6 times. They see a set point that's set to 90 feet, they send it to 3,000 feet. They literally have no idea what they're doing. And if you took the time to watch the 7-minute video, even if you knew nothing about how a water tower or pumps worked, or even what this HMI is, you would look at it and go, that's what I would do if I got up to a panel and be like, what's this do? And you hit buttons. Again, the city of Stanton, their manager, he was just like, they were fiddling with settings. They wasted a little bit of raw water, not like raw, like nasty water, but if you think of bringing untreated water out of the ground and putting it in a holding tank and then treating it and then pumping it into a tower, so then gravity builds pressure and delivers it to your home. These tanks, for lack of a better word, just have an overflow pipe, and physics works, right? So when the water gets too high, it just overflows. That's what they did. They kept messing with the buttons. They lost a few gallons or hundreds of gallons, and that was it. No big deal. Now, no kind of S4, I don't know, presentation is incomplete or complete without some made up numbers. So 1.3 billion is the total water system hours in a year. Now, how'd you make up that number? Well, there's approximately 152,000 water utilities or water systems in the US. Now, I forget the exact number, our water folks may know, but it's like over 65, or it's like some very, very small number where if you serve X number of customers, then you're considered an official water system. So I have a well at my house, that's not a water system. But if I had 64 of my friends there, maybe it is, right? So that's how you get the number of hours in the year times 152,000. This is how many hours were lost in operating time or service due to the Russians. Well, how do you know that, Ron? Well, I don't. Again, don't believe everything I say, but given what we know and what is publicly available and what the city managers are telling you straight from their mouth, and this was a nuisance, we lost a few gallons of water, we had to replace a Unitronics with a Siemens, there was really no service lost for the customer. Now, how many hours do you think were wasted on this? I know, and I'm really low on the totem pole, I know I wasted hours reading about it and getting curious, frustrated, furious, and like, well, where's their Telegram page? And then having to hear from people ask me. I mean, this became like a kitchen table topic for a number of months. Like my parents asked me, like, Ron, I heard on NPR that they're attacking our water systems. And I'm like, geez. So that's all to say, again, if it's not targeted, or if we don't feel it's advanced, or if it's not actually affecting operations on our critical infrastructure, then why are we giving this or paying this much attention? Now, what I want you to take away, though, is not just to hear me say, hey, this isn't a big deal, guys. Everyone go home, never do cybersecurity again, don't pay any of the sponsors any money for their tools and technologies and services, and like security's done. That's not what I want, but I want you to be able to have the tools necessary to make at least a semi-informed decision as to whether or not this is worth your time. All right, Z-Pen test. These guys, they remind me of what they remind me of what a friend that was kind of like me would have done at 16, just in how they talk and how they act. Again, they find an HMI, human-machine interface, on the internet, probably with no login. They log into it, they hit buttons, and they do a whole bunch of crazy stuff. Now, I shouldn't again say that. I don't like these people. I'm interested in their claims. Now, I know you can't read this, so I'll read it to you in dramatic effect. They go on their Telegram page, and this one happened to be like reflected by the Russian cyber army. So they like reposted it, like and subscribe to the Z-Pen feed. And they said, good day all. We, the Z-Pen testing team, take responsibility for the complete breakdown of the water treatment plant in Arkansas City, USA. As a result of the powerful cyber attack, we carried out the hydraulic engineering system, I don't know what that means, was forced to switch to manual control. As evidence, we attach a publication about the cyber incident, and then there's a URL below. If you were to click on that URL, it is discussing a ransomware event at a sewage treatment plant. The video that they posted was for a normal like pump water tower system in Magnet, Butterfield, and if you're from this area in Arkansas, I apologize about the names, but essentially from a small rural water system in the middle of nowhere, Arkansas. Now, they had access to this HMI here. It clearly says what water utilities at the top. And again, consider that they maybe don't read English very well, et cetera. But I do. And so I'm able to Google, well, where is the Magnet Butterfield water? It's in Malvern, Arkansas, which is in fact in Arkansas. And Arkansas City, confusingly, is not in Arkansas, it's in Kansas. So you can't even believe what they're saying, even if it's in a very boisterous, a very powerful cyber attack. They couldn't bother to Google where this place was. All right, so did they actually target and execute that powerful cyber attack against the good people of Malvern, Arkansas? No, they happened to find it. Was it very advanced? Probably not. Was it critical? Yes, to the 3,000 people in Malvern, Arkansas it was. There was no evidence of any downtime or operational impact. So, I don't know. UserSec is the same, except they're going after wellheads in East Texas. Now, I was trying to find a rhyme or reason to, and kind of recreate their process to see if there was a pattern. Like, are these opportunistic? Are they scanning for open ports? Are they just using Shodan, like images.shodan, to see what cool stuff pops up? And it's really difficult because I just don't sit there and do this all day because I have a job and family and stuff. But this was interesting. Now, the so what? It says Shoal 25 East Pad. If you do some some OSINT, and you Google this, you'll note that a lot of your minerals and petrochem extraction, all the wellhead information is online. You can search it. You can actually get the readings because that's how they get paid. And I was able to find where this was exactly, who owns it. And the thing I love about drilling and oil operators in Texas is that they all put an emergency contact email on their website. Because if you hit people on LinkedIn like, hey, my name's Ron, your stuff's been pwned, could you not do that? It kind of puts people off. But I still felt bad. I didn't want to just tell my friends. I didn't want to kind of reenact the boasting that these children or these groups were doing, right? I didn't want to also emulate that. So I was like, oh, let me do my good deed. So good evening, my name is Ron Fabell. I'm an industrial cybersecurity professional at Trax. Like, I really tried. I did this about 20 times. A threat actor associated with blah, 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 on their Telegram, here's the link. And then I even thought, well, and if you're uncomfortable with going to Telegram, or like, what is Telegram? Like, here's a screenshot. So last half of 2024, I did this about 20 times. How many responses do you think I got? 0. I got 0, which is sad for me. I thought I was being like a good citizen, see something, say something. Don't just sit at home and laugh and be furious. But I could see where this would be really off-putting. And if there's anyone in the audience where you got any kind of email like this, even with this audience here, as knowledgeable as you are, would still be like, nah, I'm not. Let's just delete that. All right, so are they targeting those things? I don't really know. It doesn't seem like it. It's not very advanced. Again, they're just finding open HMIs online. Is it critical infrastructure? I guess for that company, right? It won't have a national impact if they knock over, 5 gas or oil heads out in East Texas. And there really is, again, for as cool or sensational as their videos are, there's no evidence of an operational impact. So I opened with Gandalf. The idea here is that, so what do? I tried to do my small deed. I don't really know if it had an effect. I like to think somewhere, some poor IT person who supports some drilling company in East Texas went, oh no, I know exactly what I did. I opened some port and that was bad and now the world's better. But what I want for you though is to be able to know that this information's open, it's available if you're interested. You have the same access to these videos, these groups as I do, as anyone you see online, and you can make these determinations for yourself, for your organization, or for your threat profile. So again, what can you do? There's some examples here, and I'd be happy to post, I'm gonna post a big list to LinkedIn on just like a link drop on all these guys. These are the 2 that are the most prolific now, Pen Test Alliance. Actually, funny enough, I got banned from one of their channels. So I had to like create a, so anyway, I may not have been trolling with another account and then I got banned. Now I did try, and anyone from CISA here? I love CISA, thank you. I did try sending emails to the say CISA at like the see something, say something, the old DHS. How many responses did I get from CISA? Oh, sad. I did kind of pull the good old boy network on Beer ISAC, and then I hit up some folks. And then again, someone insightfully told me last night, they're like, Ron, do you know how much crazy shit we get to that email box? Like, you have no idea, right? Every time there's a grid X, they think the government's getting ready to shut us down, right? Like, they're like, don't take it personal. But, hey, be informed, especially if you're having to explain this to an executive board, a CISO, or someone else. You want to be able to tell them, hey, I looked at this with my own eyes personally, and here's my assessment. Not here's what CNN is saying, even, apologies to my CISA friends, not even what CISA is saying, understanding that from CISA's point of view, they have no option other than to respond to it. So just keep that in mind. You can inform them. I am trying to be a good citizen, see something, say something. But if you're advisors, consultants, please stop hyping this stuff. Stop gatekeeping, stop my sources say, or my threat intel channel says, or my friends who are in the dark web say. Try to educate. Try to tell, hey, there's bad stuff happening. Here's how I found that bad stuff, and here's the process I did to determine if it was bad. Not everything needs a marketing name. They already have cool names. We don't need to give it cooler names. Same thing for vendors and researchers. I understand the marketing game, but do your best to show your work. because that will not only build a trust relationship, but also inform your audience, and then that way they're going to be more likely to be engaged with you. Now, government, asset owners, I know asset owner is a general term. Figure out how to take action. And if that means information sharing, just recognize information sharing works both ways. So a thanks for your email would be nice every now and then, just maybe once. So shout out to some goats. Note that the thing of don't believe anything I say, I stole from someone online who also stole it from someone online. But I thought it worked if you're an educator, because again, I want to empower you and to make you feel like that you can believe the things that you read and you have the tools and the knowledge to do that. Those are my goats. And another goat I wanted to shout out was Cynthia Broomfield, an actual investigative journalist who does some things that I wish I could do, like just call up the city manager of Stanton and be like, hey, bro, what happened with this? And just talk with them. And she's just such a resource for our community. All right, we have few minutes for questions. Joe.
Hi, Ron. How's it going?
Hi, Joe.
Cool stuff, man, as always. A question for you, though. So I look at all this, I call it CNA, computer network annoyance.
Yes.
You know? Yep, exactly. The thing is though, these are still access points that if you had someone that actually knew what the hell they were doing, could be bad. Mm-hmm. So say I have $1 million, I'm CISA or whatever. How do you fix this problem? Is it worthwhile to just hire 5 people, give John Matherly a call or whatever for a Shodan license and look for all these things up and phone people to try to close these down? Or what do you do about the problem then?
So this is I consider it like a small office, home office problem.
Okay.
And again, not to diminish or belittle like our water utilities or our oil, the petrol extraction, et cetera, but their operations may be on that level. And so oftentimes, even if I had this concept before of your neighborhood watch, neighborhood keeper, that kind of thing. But like, what if we each took our neighborhood? And if something popped up on Shodan in our county, then it would be your responsibility to contact them. And I did that for a time. It's not a matter of millions of dollars or anything else, it's just focus and resources. So for a lot of times, it's not even ignorance. There were a number of folks that I contacted when the gas station pump or gauge thing was big. I called up a couple local gas stations, they're like, yeah, we know, we don't care. I was like, oh, okay, well, thank you for your time. It's probably still bad, but thank you. Now, I think to your point, there's a couple unknowns that I didn't really have time to go into. One of which is this is only what we have publicly available, and it's only on my observation bias. Again, biases aren't bad, they just are. And so I'm not looking at every threat actor, whether advanced or not. It's just the 20 I looked at all fit a profile, and maybe my observation bias gravitated me towards that. I also have a level of uncomfortableness with there's dark things that happen in dark corners that only the government and I know about, and therefore, you should be really, really scared. So I do think there's somewhere in the middle, and oftentimes what people ask me about these groups is, well, why do you think they do it? And don't you think they could be associated with the governments or the RGC or whoever? And sure, but if there's no evidence of it and there's nothing we can do about that, and we don't have $1 million and a CISO even, then I think it's just context. Now, don't let I forget who said this, but don't let any disaster go to waste. Kind of like compliance, if you see a good compliance talk, they'll say compliance is crap, but it gets you budget. So you can use these if you're knowledgeable, you've seen this information firsthand, to go to your CISO and be like, hey, remember how I told you this shouldn't be hanging online and our vendors shouldn't be able to access it from home? Here's why. Do you really want the FBI coming to your door? Do you really want a CNN article? So fear or hype can be used, just don't add to it. Just make sure it's already there.
Cool.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, man.
So, quick one. For those that didn't get emails from Ron, while I was actually mowing my lawn one Sunday morning, I got a signal message from Ron. It's like, hey, I'm doing this, and they're like targeting your company. So thanks.
I remember that. I'm also sorry.
A part of that story that I don't think I've even gotten a chance to tell you is So the company I work for was targeted along with another organization. The other organization we reached out to were amazed at how fast we were actually able to like understand that this happened. And we're like, we want to like, can we hire like your detection group? And
Yes.
so they came back to me and they're like, Ben, like, how did you do this? And I was like, maybe have cool friends.
Oh, you should have taken all, like, you'd be like, oh yeah, we have like this
Just
AI on the cloud.
Credit due where credit's due.
Thank you. I appreciate it,
Thanks,
Ben.
Ron.
I think one more, sir. Yep.
2 comments. First, I believe it was Rob Emanuel said never let good disaster go to waste.
Okay.
And secondly, I work for the government in incident response. We are required to send notifications to CISA about any attacks,
Right.
and they hardly ever reply. So
Well,
you're in the realm of normalcy.
Well, and just a final word on that. 'cause
They're collecting the data. That's all they're doing.
Yeah, and there are. We have like a. Hey, it's Johnny.
Hi, guys. I'm on the magnetron.
But yes, I don't fault our CISA friends, and right now it's not a good time to pile on CISA anyway. But yeah, knowing that those hotlines are there to collect data and not to make you feel good about your civic duty. So, yes, sir.
So,
For Johnny, he gets one more.
oh, wow. Stand down. So, more just to make you feel better, at our organization, by policy, they weren't responding to emails that would come in like that.
Right.
And so that's not to make anybody think that because you're not getting a response that everybody's ignoring you or that you're hitting an ignore mailbox or something like that.
Yeah.
By policy, it may very well be that we're investigating, but we don't respond just to make sure we're not risking spreading any more OSINT or even dealing with a social engineering attack or something like that.
That's a good
I have
point.
since pushed to have that changed because I agree. We should respond. Even just a thank you, we are investigating, we'll contact you further if we need to.
Yeah.
I think goes a really, really long way. Just as a researcher, I absolutely know how you feel.
Awesome. Thank you, sir. And thank you, Manish, for allowing me to go one more.